And the thing that in knowing of the history and reading of it and so many things, it was literally their love of the game that kept them going because, like you said, dealing with a lot of the obstacles, uh, you had to have that love for the game. And the other thing that I guess folks don't know enough about Mr. Foster was that he was a tremendous pitcher. He is
Yeah.
basically the father of what we call the screwball. I guess it was called the fadeaway back in the day, and he was way ahead of his time. And if I remember correctly, I want to say it was either John McGraw or someone or Connie Mack, I believe, that literally brought him into camp to teach to teach his pitchers the screwball. Most importantly, I believe it was Christy Mathewson that
Hmm.
he literally took under his wing and turned him into the great pitcher that he would become.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that not only did he dominate the game, I mean, well before Satchel Paige came along, that was Rube Foster. History don't
Mm-hmm.
record that. But he was one of the most dominant pitchers in his time, mounting up records that's unheard of today. But again, he was called in secret to come in the back door and train white pitchers and white ball players. And they went on to fame and stardom. But again, he never got his accolades. He was never acknowledged. And that's what this book is trying to do. It's trying to, we're not rewriting history. What's most of the content in the book is what's in the public domain already about Blue Falls, but we're trying to educate a 21st century once again that knows nothing about the legacy and history of Negro League Baseball and the founder, Blue Foster.
And then the thing about him is that again, he was a visionary. He saw the Negro Leagues in his mind long before it was actually formed, and it took the prejudice and the ridiculousness that some of the ball players went through to get the Negro League started. Um, the Other than of course the racism, what was some of the biggest obstacles that the league in itself faced in those early years?
Well, I'm sure in those early years he dealt with the obstacle of financing. And if we look at the way we function today as a people, you have to bring these other 6, 7 minds together and get them to agree. Okay, we go form this league, and we go function as one. Somebody always why you got to be the head, why you got to be the leader, but he had the vision to bring these black men together and say you have the opportunity to own your own teams, and we can go out here and we can make history. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, I'm sure he had financial challenges. He had the challenges that he was dealing with of segregation and bringing these players together. And more importantly, probably one of the unspoken things growing up during that Jim Crow era, he had the burden of the safety of these players. Because you got 20, 30 black players traveling together on a team from state to state, and you had to go through small towns. You had to deal with the segregation in that town when you were not on the baseball field. These are some of the things people don't talk about. I mean, I'm sure we know the N word. They was called the N word and every other thing. So I mean, if we know the hostility that Jackie Robinson faced crossing that major league barrier, only imagine what the Negro League players did before, or I should say, what they had to endure before Jackie Robinson being an all black, going into small towns and of course they was making money, so that was unheard of
Sure.
back in the 1920s. Black, a black economic base that created black wealth that stayed in our own communities.
The book is ready. Make sure to purchase your copy today. It is now available on Amazon, and our website makes sure to get it today. Chapter 11, Satchel Paige. His journey from the Negro Leagues to Major League Baseball stands as a testament to the perseverance, dignity, and talent of African American athletes. Today, Satchel Paige's name endures as a symbol of both triumph and transformation, a reminder of how the Negro Leagues not only sustained black baseball, but elevated it to an art form. His story, like Rube Foster's vision, continues to echo through the game, connecting baseball's past, present, and future. That's www.feoa.info.
Which it don't do today. Black wealth leaves our community before it gets in it.
And early on, after a few years, the leagues became profitable, and they became, in like you said, in the book, in many instances, the Negro League team was the dominant team of that city. We all know of the Washington Senators, the old phrase back in the day: first in war, first in peace, last in American League. But you had teams like you had the Homestead Graves,
Mm-hmm.
who literally would outdraw them in the old Griffith Stadium, and also Rube's actual team, the Chicago American Giants, where he was owner for many years.
Mm-hmm.
They outdrew both the Cubs and the
Mm-hmm.
White Sox. And remember, in the early 1900s, the Cubs were the dominant team in Major League Baseball during the early part of the 1900s. When of course, that was that's why they took them. They had that long gap between World Series wins. But talk about again economically how after some slow footing early on, these teams not only turned a profit, these teams were vital to the economic growth of the cities that they were representing. Most importantly, in the Black communities of these cities.
Well, in doing my research for this book, Negro League Baseball back in the 1920s, if we related to the dollars that was generated annually, was over $40 million in today's dollars. So imagine what $40 million was equivalent to in 1920.
Sure.
And it was the number 3 grossing revenue in the entire Black community economically, next to the insurance company and the hair company. That was Negro League Baseball. Mind you, it was number 3 grossing at over $40 million back in 1920 for a sport that only went on about 3 to 4 months. So just say 4 months. They was making $10 million a month. And not only did it generate revenue for the players, it created wealth within the community for the barbershops, the restaurants, the cleaners. They sold food. They had a good time, and they changed the game. And what people don't understand, when it came to Negro League Baseball, we think black, 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 but they drew white audience that came from far and near to watch this entertaining brand of baseball, and they was able to market it well before we got the social media era now, where you can get on there and promote your product. And Rube Foster was a pioneer before his time. He was marketing and promote $1 million industry as a Black man, and I keep emphasizing, with an elementary school education. That's unbelievable today.
Oh, absolutely. And
the book is ready. Make sure to purchase your copy today. It is now available on Amazon, and our website makes sure to get it today. That's www.feoa.info. Chapter 8, Rhythm of the Road. The Negro Leagues were more than baseball. They were a movement, a living expression of resilience, of community, of excellence in the face of exclusion. The men who played there carried more than gloves and bats. They carried a people's hope. Their legacy lives on in every ballpark, in every young player who dreams big, and in every story that reminds us. They didn't just play the game, they changed it. That's www.feoa.info.